Lee Cronin's The Mummy. I have for it. On the whole, let me just get out of the way right now. I really like the movie. I think it's a well-made movie. It's well shot. It's very well acted. It does a lot of stuff right. But let me just get at some of the stuff that I think either didn't work out of the way or at least didn't work for me. Right out the gate, the movie's too long. The movie is around 2 hours and no, hold on. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. How long was this again? 2 hours and 14 minutes. And let me put it this way: if you're able to pace yourself right, you pace yourself well, you can get away with a horror movie that long. But the very nature of horror movies, in general, I've noticed, they don't lend themselves to long movie runtimes. I mean, I'm trying to think of some of the longest like horror movies in terms of like their runtime. The Conjuring movies, I think, kind of get in that area. Depending on how you define horror, like some of the Alien films get into there, like Alien Romulus, I know gets into the 2 hour range, and that's definitely got horror elements in it. But that's like sci-fi horror. You're now merging genres. But this movie could have easily been cut by about 15 minutes, and it frankly would have flowed a lot better. There are times where either lingering on a scene, I think, for maybe just a couple seconds too long, to one or two scenes that, frankly, if they were out of the film, I wouldn't have really cared. So I think the length of the film hurts the pacing, which is otherwise pretty solid, I think, in the long run. But this is mildly spoilery, but people are going to wondering how this movie is different than a normal Mummy movie. And this is where I'm just wondering if this movie, if what I'm about to talk about is just something I technically have an issue with, but don't have an issue with. What I mean by this is this, or what I mean by it is this, is that the concept of a mummy in general is Egyptian based, though there are mummies in other cultures, but generally speaking, Egyptian is usually where you take your mummy from. And it's, there's mysticism involved with mummies, but it is essentially it's a zombie. It's a unique type of zombie brought back with like ancient magic, wrapped up, preserved through the mummification process, but they come back to life. But the thing is, while they tend to kill, they attack, they're sometimes slow moving, sometimes they're fast, whatever. It is usually the person that's been brought back. The person who's been brought back is still the person who's been brought back. They're still the same person, just maybe really angry, really vengeful, take your pick. But this one definitely takes the mummy route differently. The idea of the undead mummy is now converted into something more akin to like The Exorcist or an Evil Dead movie. In fact, damn, I just got these minor smears on my glasses that just won't go away. It really feels. I remember watching or reading a review early on, like on Rotten Tomatoes. I remember just a high review, and they commented that the guy Lee Cronin is trying to be Sam Raimi, and I'm watching. It's like, yeah, no, this is Mummy a la Evil Dead. No, sorry, it would be The Mummy a la The Evil Dead. Like, and we got, by the way, a trailer for Evil Dead Burn. It's like, yeah, that was pretty fun. But yeah, they're going more the possession angle on this route. Like I was thinking along the lines of it's a mummy's curse more than that kind of converts this one girl into a mummy or whatever reason. But why is she put as a mummy to begin with? And I'm like, partially right, but also there's Egyptian lore about demons and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, thinking on this, I'm like, well, I mean, Egypt does have demons. So, like, every culture has their own form of demons. So, it wasn't like I was against the concept, but the problem with going this route is that the very concept of the mummy isn't really a thing in this movie. If you take out the Egypt stuff and how they found her, more or less, and even then, even if you just added how they found her and their sarcophagus wrapped up, if you take out everything that has to do with Egypt, this is just a possession film. That's all it is. And it would still work as a possession film, I suppose. It just, it does not feel very mummy-like. Even adding all the like Egyptian stuff in there, it's not the it doesn't quite feel like a mummy film. It's not completely devoid of it, mind you, but it does lose something because of the concept you've created. So I think those are really the two biggest problems, I think, with the film. A film that otherwise I very much enjoyed. From the moment we like start the film, we open with a family who are main players in the film, who basically are the ones who kidnap Katie. Or the very minimum, someone in the family does. And it's their job to basically keep something contained. You basically heard they keep a demon contained through mummifying people. And Katie is taken as a sacrifice, but she's basically, they find her because a plane goes down, like transporting her, and they weren't prepared for her. She's not supposed to be out of the box. So now she's back, and she brought a friend along. I don't really like it here inside your daughter. Don't worry, Grandma. It's fun being dead. Like they definitely go very Exorcist-like in this, or actually more. It really is more Evil Dead than Exorcist, but there's a little bit of Exorcist in there. Sorry, just loosening my jaw for better pronunciation. So they definitely. So 8 years pass. They've had another kid, and Katie comes back, and so they bring her back. But oh no, hijinks ensue, and it's them figuring things out. And I will say right at the gate, I liked all the performers in the movie. I really bought the grief that the dad and the mom felt about losing their daughter. There is a conversation where they legitimately just get upset with each other. And he even says, I know you blame me for it. I know you do. I was there. But what about every day that you didn't know about this? And she's like, you threw that in my face and all that. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. And I actually do appreciate when things happen in a film and I'm questioning, that was stupid. Why are you? And then later on they kind of like go back and go, okay, I was wrong. Let's just no. But then there's other, and I also like the fact when the film's I'm watching a film going like, there's a character that we see later on who's got their tongue cut out for talking. I'm like, it's like, why aren't you saying anything? And they got their tongue's been cut off. I'm like, and I'm looking at their tongue, and look, it's not easy to talk without your tongue. Ozzy used the tip for the tatas, but you can. I'm like I have like, if you look at my tongue, like you got like not even the tip, like it's a little like maybe like a fifth of their tongue gone. I'm like, no, they still got a decent amount of their tongue there. And I'm like, they should still be able to talk. And then sure, the character is able to, they struggle with it, if they are able to talk. I'm like, oh, okay, then what? You could have just said something. But then it's like, okay, explain this to me. It's like, give me something to write with. So I appreciate when movies actually are acknowledging my thoughts. It's like, you're in my head, movie. You're in my head. But I think all the performers are doing well, particularly the girl who's playing Katie, who's like has to play the mummy-possessed girl. Like, that's a lot of fun. And these two other kids who, I'm not going to spoil it, but they do kind of get wrapped up in it in a certain way. And I'm like, oh, you kids have fun when they're allowed to kind of be bad. So I think all the performances are pretty solid. Like the physical acting's also really, really good. And look, the film's got definitely some jump scares, but most didn't bother me at all. Like there was one near the very beginning that I'm like, okay, that one, I'm like, okay, jump scare. But it's like, all right, there it is. Woo. Which, side note, they're going to check on like the people, the person in charge of like the mummy. They're checking on the tomb to see if the thing's awake, and they have these oil lamps that are lit. I'm like, okay, maybe the powers of the mummy make flashlights not work. Except later on, you see this in the trailer, an investigator goes in with a flashlight. You clearly have like some you have a car, you got lamps in your house. Why are you just using oil, which burns, creates smoke in an enclosed space? It's because it looks cool. That's pretty much it. Tradition, looking cool. Like, no, just use a goddamn flashlight. Because you're like, oh, we got to get in close for that jump scare. Like, but you know what? If you had a flashlight, you could have checked on him from a distance. But that said, it does play with tension very well. It sets up a very creepy and uneasy atmosphere, to say the least. It does. It is unpleasant in many ways, particularly in some of the gore we see. They made mention early on that this film was going to be gory. They were not lying. I mean, early on we see things like people getting hooked and skewered, eyes through heads. I'm like, okay, yeah, I've seen all that before. I'm like, whatever. But then there's the toenail scene. Okay, so there is a phobia. I'm not going to go explain too much. I brought it up in the out of theory action, but there is a phobia people have. You see it online where you got that little. Sometimes you get those little flakes of skin on your like cuticles, and you kind of peel it back a little bit. Well, if you go on the internet and you look up some of the phobias people have about that, there is a scene in this movie that is pretty much verbatim that. Needless to say, I was like, ironically, things like grandma being thrown out the window, which again, you see that in the trailer, not a big issue. Kid biting people, that's nothing serious. But you do then get some other gross stuff, like blood being spit on food, and people accidentally eating it. You get, they did mention something about a scorpion in the throat out in the movie, and that scene's in there, and it's pretty rough. I'll admit, it's pretty rough. I mean, it's not pleasant to say the least. There's definitely other things gore-wise that, in like, creep factor, just, it's a creepy movie. It is very creepy in many ways. That said, I'm not sure how much of this I can stand watching this happen to kids. I think that might be also part of the unnerving part. Is this is happening to kids. One of them is like 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. Like, not pleasant, not pleasant at all. So it is fairly well paced, though I think the length does hurt it a bit. I do think it has a satisfying ending, though, because I'm like, yeah, this person deserves what's about to happen to them. Because you hear their reasoning for doing it. And you're like, I suppose, but you're terrible people regardless. Like, there's no if, and, or but about this. You are not good people. You are not good people in the least. So, I don't know. I'll say this. I don't think it was a bad movie at all. I really actually enjoyed myself with it. I think I'm good on the one watch, though. I'm not intending to go and watch it again. But for one time watch, it was a fun horror movie. I enjoyed it. Certainly better than, what was the last horror movie I watched? Oh, Primate. That was the last horror movie I watched, if I'm not mistaken. Primate was fine. I like Primate. It's better than Primate in terms of quality of filmmaking, but Primate was bee cheesy fun. So it's apples and oranges on that. Anyway, that's my thoughts on The Mummy. Let me think here real quick. Trailers. We got, I believe, did we get The Mandalorian Grogu again? No, we did not. But we got a couple trailers where I'm like, why is this attached to this? Okay, like I said, we got, what was it? We got Evil Dead Burn. I remember that. And it's just a teaser, but still. I'm trying to think. We didn't get Michael. I know that. We did not get... Guys, I'm basically now going through the list here. Deepwater. No, we didn't get Deepwater. Not Hokum. Sheep Detective. Nope. They didn't get Sheep Detectives. We didn't get Mortal Kombat 2. Which one? Oh, In the Gray. I do want to see In the Gray because it's basically just the same guy who did Ministry of Evangelical Warfare. Henry Cavill comes back. Jake Gyllenhaal, same actress who was in Ministry. Like, I do want to see that. Let's see here. What were the other ones we got? We got like 5 or 6 trailers. Masters of the Universe. Okay, yeah, we definitely got the newest trailer for that. Disclosure Day. We got that as well. It's the most current trailer. What was the other one? I'm looking through this right now. We got one other one. At least one other one. What was it? Brink of War, nope. Mutiny, nope. Not Insidious. Harry Potter, nope. Nope. I know we got one other one, and I can't find it, and it's bothering me that I can't find it. We didn't get any comic book trailers. Digger, Other Mommy, Social Reckoning, Street, nope. Poetic License, Senses with Clayface, Hershey, Archangel. I cannot find what the other movie we got the trailer for was. It might have been a smaller film. Maybe that's why I'm struggling to figure out what it was. Yeah, it is what it is. Either way, overall it was a good experience. I enjoyed myself for what it was. But that's my thoughts. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you thought. If you haven't seen the movie yet, do you think you'll go see it? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.